I hate you.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the 365 podcast. It's your boy, Big Rick.
I'm Drew.
And today we got a special guest. We got Biddy James. What's going on, Biddy?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. So on the episode today, most of y'all know this is my little brother. I'm his big brother. We're going to try to keep it as straight as possible, not joke so much, but it's going to be a laid-back episode. Today we're going to talk about his music career, his journey through music, where he's at now, and just life in general. We're just going to kind of go through it and really just, you know, like I said, we're going to kind of go through it to get to it. So what's going on, Biddy?
Nothing much, man. Working a little bit. I've been excited for this episode and excited to see your channel grow. But yeah, hanging out, trying to stay warm.
Yeah, we like I said, we've had we're just getting the podcast going, man. We're not professionals by any means at it. We're trying to get this thing rolling. So we're gonna get started. So what really got you? Let's introduce yourself as far as music. How long you been doing music? What got you into music? Why? What made you want to do music? All that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I think everybody grows up wanting to learn how to play guitar. I think I got my first guitar when I was 12 and then put it away and, you know, never thought about it again. But I was working here at the city of Portland at the time. I just turned 21 and got on YouTube. Went and seen my boy Steve Austin down there on Main Street and bought an overpriced Johnson guitar. And yeah, every day when I went home, I would just learn it, send you videos, and you'd tell me how great it was, even though it was bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just kind of went from there. So I'm 26 now. That was right when I turned 21. So I wouldn't technically say doing music for 5 years, but I've been playing guitar for about 5 years. I think we put our first song out in 2020. And from there, we just kind of kept rolling.
What was the first song you put out?
My first single, Small Town, Tennessee. That's the first song I ever wrote.
Everybody loved that song.
Yeah,
That was a good one.
Everybody loved it.
I mean, to be honest,
it was awful, but everybody loved it. But it does strike one of those chords with us, man. We like that one. So. Got it. All right. So yeah. So we opened up Small Town, Tennessee. That's the first song. What about the first show? Where did you play your first show at? And how was it doing your first show? Was you nervous? How did that feel? Like, explain that to people that may be watching as far as what it takes to be able to get up there and perform. Some of these people are in arenas. Some of these people are just, you might be at your local bar, but if you're a artist and you're getting in front of people, is that the biggest thing to overcome, or is it just natural for you?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to carry on like what we were talking about with the song. So I always tell people in music, it's like painting a picture. And Bailey over there, I think he would agree. When you write music, your first time writing something, it's definitely, you know, that body of work's not going to be as good as something that you wrote, you know, say 3-4 years down the road. And so, like painting a picture, if I ask you to draw a picture of this jersey rack back here, first time you draw, it's probably not going to be as good as the 5th or 6th time. So, but first show, first song, all that together pretty much, man, when you first come out with something, I think more people are curious of what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, how it's going to look, how it's going to sound. And those kind of all revolve into the same thing. But my first show was in Nashville, East Nashville, and to be honest, it was in a shithole place.
It was packed out though. Let's don't take away from that.
It was packed out.
There was a couple hundred people there at your very first show.
Yeah, and that was super cool. I don't know if it was people. Well, I know a lot of people were there to support me. And maybe some were there to see how bad I'd mess up.
Absolutely.
And that's just part of it. But yeah, we had a great time. I was nervous. And yeah, like I said, I was 21 at the time. We did that. I believe my first show. No, 20. Yeah, 21. It was in 2020 when we did my first show. I think in February or something like that. But yeah, man, it was cool to be put in that setting for the first time and to be on stage and hear people singing along, even if it was a body of work that wasn't, perfect.
You got a pretty good support system, though. I remember took a picture after that show, your first show. There are a lot of people in that picture. A lot of those people still are at your shows today. Like,
Yeah.
so, it's I know that, all circles get smaller as you go, and people kind of, change up and stuff like that. But you still have you have a pretty good support system as far as people that have supported you since day one. And obviously the music's changed. Obviously that keeps, that's a thing that is going to keep changing. But it seems like that you've still got that group together that was there from the first day that you did it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I owe a big part of that to you, because when we first started music, man, it wasn't like I picked up a guitar and jumped into this scene or this group of people. We're right here in Nashville. It's so easy to just find a clique and click up with these people, but we really just kept our friends, our family around the whole time, and it's still like that to this day. Which may be a reason, the good and bad come from that, But as far as support, man, and being able to do some cool things with friends and family and the people that I've had around me from the start is one of the coolest things, I'd say.
It's pretty cool, too, like when you play local shows, that how many people just pack it out every single time you play. It's pretty awesome seeing your hometown.
I really enjoy playing around here. One thing I want to work on in the future is not being so available. And I know it sounds crazy, but I don't want to be so available to the public that it's just another day you go see somebody in concert, at these public places. And that's really my goal with my upcoming stuff, is to release a lot of music and play good shows, promote them, take my time on them, and make sure that we can guarantee a good crowd and a good show every single time we show up.
So the crazy thing is, like, if you followed any of Biddy's journey, like, we come out of the gate, swinging. Like, we anything we do, we're gonna try to go crazy on.
Yeah. So make sure. Well, we got to make sure. So for you guys that are out there listening, from the start, my first show wasn't booked by you. 2020. I wrote my first song. We planned to shoot a music video, and this place down the road, actually from here, was scheduled to open up. It was a Portland Pizza Pub, and from there on, Ricky booked me my first shows early on at some of these local venues, that being one of them. But to explain to you, Rick's been what you would consider, he's my older brother, so it's not the actual thing, but he's been my booking manager from the start. Any shows I've played, any cool opportunities I've gotten are mainly because of Rick booking those. I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, so like we come out of the gate, right? You didn't even know how to really play guitar all the way, and we had you on a billboard downtown. I mean, they say fake it till you make it, but in our heads, you'd already made it. But I feel like that's part of your story and part of the journey of it, and just fast forwarding some of the places and some of the cool things that you've got to do. Headlining shows and we did our own festivals, and we did that. Now, explain some of the cool moments that stick out to you, like in your music journey, as far as, everybody can say they opened up for so-and-so or so. It don't have to be that, but just maybe talk about some of the memories that stick out to you that you experienced so early. Like, because, they say Nashville's like a 10-year town for some people that takes to make it, but like when you really make it, like what's making it? Like, what's some of the times that stuck out to you, and do you feel like that's going to keep progressing as you go forward?
Yeah. Well, I'll start off first by saying what making it is in music to me, and to be honest, really, I just want to be able to one day be comfortable from music. Share my body of work with a large audience of people, but everybody has their own. I guess making it is not, you can be on the radio and this and that, but I think making it's when you're sitting in your truck somewhere and you hear that song and you're on 96.7 and you click the button off to over to 95.5 and you hear the same song. I guess that's technically making it, in a big scheme of things. But making it music, man, to me is really. Honestly, if I guess just like I said, being comfortable and being able to make music for a living and be happy doing that, man, that's one of the coolest things that I enjoy doing. But some of the coolest moments for me, I'd say early on in my career when I was playing, like that we mentioned that first show, I was so nervous, and some of that kind of goes away after you get comfortable in front of a crowd of people. But when we played out at Cahoots, I remember you called me and said, Bill had gave us a spot to open up for Confederate Railroad, and I was doing a sound check, and Danny, the lead singer, walked in, and you know, this is a guy that's presented on TV and presented in front of everyone as this big burly guy. He wears this large hat with a large coat, and he come in there in some sweats and was watching me do my sound check. So I got pretty nervous then. That was a special moment, not only, you know, because I got to meet them, but man, they were some of the greatest guys that you could ever ask to be around, and really made us feel at home opening up for them. And that was really my first big time show that I opened up for such a, you know, these guys had number ones before I was even born. And it's pretty cool to do that. Meeting Eddie Montgomery, we got to open up for Eddie Montgomery of Montgomery Gentry. That was pretty cool. You know, we grew up listening to Montgomery Gentry.
That sticks out for me. That's one of the things that stick out for me.
Yeah, but
awesome.
yeah, man, that's
that show, man. You look around and you're at we're at Cahoots, man. You look around and we're standing up on the deck, the DJ deck, and you look around and you see about, I don't know, a couple hundred of just people that we know that just support you, and everybody was just happy. Everybody was just happy to be there in the moment. It was a good time. That was kind of like a reality moment for me, as I remember, hell, when you were little and I was little too, but we was in the back seat listening to Montgomery Gentry songs.
Yeah,
and you opened up for them. That's a full circle moment for me.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool.
Riding around in the '88 Thunderbird.
yeah, we had some good times, man.
Yeah.
And,
but yeah, and that, man, we've played so many cool places. You know, just being booked at all these different spots, man, meeting all the incredible people. I've got a cool support system up in Louisville, Kentucky. Shout out to those guys. Shout out to Brian Moser.
Yep. The graphic, man. He makes it all happen.
Yeah, check him out.
Cold with it.
But man, we've got to special moments, man. You know, it doesn't matter whether you're playing in front of 8 people or playing in front of 80, you know, a couple hundred people. It doesn't matter.
COVID was, for me, COVID was just a blessing. I feel like COVID was a lot of people are, you know, I know a lot of people lost their lives during COVID and stuff like that, but for me, man, COVID was probably the biggest blessing that we had ever got, especially when it comes to music. I mean, I remember sitting on the porch. We ate so much steak, we were tired of grilling steaks, man. I've never in my life ate that much steak. We cooked it any way you could cook it. There was no other way to cook it. We grilled and grilled and grilled, but there was nowhere open. There was nothing to do. And but I remember sitting on the porch, and it's where a lot of those early songs come from.
Yeah.
And they're not your best songs, but that's kind of what got you started, in my opinion, and made you, you know, be able to just keep going with what you're doing now, you know.
Yeah. Well, to some people, you know, maybe those songs are my best songs to some people, because at that time I wasn't trying to take in all this knowledge of what the industry wanted or what I think would push better as far as putting on socials. You know, that was just stuff that we were writing, simply where we grew up and about how we grew up and where we were from and stuff like that. So, yeah, I enjoyed that time, man. We had a lot of good times out there and wrote some cool stuff to say.
So that's early on, Biddy. And like I said, so we're going, like on this podcast, man, we're gonna just kind of break it down and tell it how we tell it. And so you make it about halfway. Everything seems like it's on track, moving forward in the career. Everything's coming along. Everything's going good. And then we hit a hiccup. You got in a little trouble. We did get in a little trouble. And then life happens. You kind of settled down a little bit. Had your biggest blessing. You had your little daughter.
Yeah.
Ren.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ren. So life is life at this point. And then so that kind of, not going to say it derailed what you had going, but it definitely was a lot of hiccups in the play. Like, you were on track for a different ending or a different period of where you're at now when that stuff happened. So now explain, how did that, you feel like that? I don't see it as a setback. I see it as, you know, as life. But how does that?
Like
how
a
do
reset.
How do you in your head, with the pressure of that? Like I said, we said it's a 10-year town, so you know you still got lots of years. But what I'm saying is, how do you channel all that and you feel like you should be somewhere you're not right now? Is what, you know. And that's just raw. Like, we're just talking, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's no secret. You look around at the guys, some of the guys that I played with coming out, played shows with and ran around with, in a big scheme of things, being so content at the time that I was and being so comfortable, I guess lazy, you could say, inconsistent, is a big part of why I feel like now, you take away all those things you just talked about, why I'm not a little further is probably inconsistency. And that's on me. But the trouble thing, I had a guy tell me one time, no publicity is bad publicity. And I wouldn't change a thing about it.
But don't you gotta get arrested to be a good country music singer?
Yeah,
in
well,
Nashville?
I thought seems like that's
you
part
even
of it
sing
now.
country music unless you got arrested, man.
I don't know. I don't know if you can write songs about hitting people in the mouth unless you've actually hit somebody in the mouth. But
you're not a badass unless you prove it, man.
No, I'm not a badass by any means. But I will say, you're talking about settling down with family and stuff. I'll say that's my biggest blessing, man. Katie, and it's your sister-in-law, and we're getting ready to get married.
Big time.
In September, and I love her to death, and she did give me my biggest blessing, Ren. They make me so happy. I'll say the hardest part is, now, and Bailey over there, he produces these songs, and I'm writing these songs about like breakups and drinking and stuff. I really wish I could just put out a 3-chord in the Truth song and tell everybody how, beautiful my fiance and my daughter are. But
Luke Combs, man.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. But yeah, man, those are all, to speak on all those things together, I think everything happens for a reason. And like you were saying, Drew, kind of a reset. Everybody needed a reset. I got so used to playing these shows every weekend and being here, and then we'd be there and jumping around. And even if they weren't super far away from here, they're away from home. So for me, I just kind of got tired. It's been, with Ren, she'll be 2 in May. It's been cool to kind of slow down, work, come home, and spend time with my family and hang out.
Well, like you said, though, you see a lot of these interviews from these big time singers, and I mean, you can Garth Brooks, a lot of these guys talk about the thing that these guys had the utmost success. These guys are like, when you speak of legends, you talk of them, and they said that they would trade it all back from the time that they missed. So I look at it like maybe your journey, though, is just a little bit different than the normal road that a lot of people are taking. Maybe you're getting to do the best of both, man. Maybe you're getting to be there for those moments, and then the best is yet to come still.
Yeah. And I feel like everything kind of lines up. I mean, to put it in perspective for everybody listening and kind of for you guys, I mean, we've spoke on this. I don't feel a need to be at Whiskey Jam every Tuesday night. None of the songs. I'm not saying that I don't need to co-write. I definitely need to co-write. There's some great writers in Nashville, and some. I'm friends with some great people that aren't in Nashville that are great songwriters too. But I feel like on the way up, everybody thinks you have this certain way of doing things. Kind of like when you first start playing music, they're like, "Man, when are you playing in Nashville?" I'm not playing on Broadway. I don't want to be in the Broadway ring. I want no part of that. I want to go to work. If there has to be a plan B, I would rather it be something that I can do for a job the rest of my life. I don't want to be, 50 years old singing for tips on Broadway.
Well, when you first started, like people was like shocked that you said that. I remember when you very first started, we took a different approach to where we were booking our own shows and trying to line our own shows up. If we did a small show, we wanted to be here in our backyard, where Mama could come, or we could. That's our grandmother, by the way. She loves coming to the shows, but we wanted it to be, instead of going to play a writers round downtown for free, we looked at it, if we make $200, man, $200 is $200, and we looked at it like we got to be with all our friends and family versus being with some strangers that are basically gonna try to steal your songs anyway when they play it. Think about it. It's kind of crazy, but like a lot of those people down there, man, that really works for them.
Yeah,
and it does.
Absolutely.
I'm not, but for you, I think it's just I think you're taking a different road, man. I really feel like it like I said, a lot of those big name people, man, are missing some of that stuff. I feel like you're getting to do both right now. You're really concentrating on writing more, and I feel like the songs are just keep getting better and better and better. I really am impressed with all the new stuff. I mean, when we first started, I could go ping you back and forth, and we could write one. Yeah. Now, man, you tell me something, and I'm just like, yeah, man, hell yeah, that sounds awesome. You've grown so much in your writing, and I feel like this is another thing I'd like to ask you too while I got you on here. Do you ever feel like you could write songs for a living? And maybe pitch it to somebody else and let them.
Well, I mean, somebody listening to this podcast would say I was silly for my statement that I didn't need to be at Whiskey Jam or at these writers' rounds, and then to say, yes, I feel like I could write songs for a living. Yeah. Nowadays, I guess you paint a picture perfect image of being a songwriter. You're downtown. Just kind of connecting with these guys, trying to get in. Nashville's really clicked up, though. It's no secret. You can go to writers' rounds and tell some of the great guys I've played writers' rounds with. You've been there to witness. They're all singing harmonies on each other's songs, and I'm just a guy that got produced by the same person, sounding totally different.
Absolutely.
And that's just part of it. But it is very cliquey, and you have to be in with certain people to write songs. Somebody writes a song and gets it cut by someone. They, might turn their nose up at somebody that don't have any hits, or I've literally wrote with not very many people, or anything that I've put out I haven't co-wrote, whether it was sitting on the front porch with you, I guess is the farthest extent of that. But I love to write songs for a living. I think the route I'm going, so first things first, it's hard to make it in music, but secondly, it's even harder to make it in music being independent. You look at some of the people around here, and look at Ryan Upchurch, and some people might think he's a loon and a little crazy. I think he's a little crazy at times.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
Probably is a great down to earth dude. I don't know him on a personal level. But look at his success, man. As far as an independent artist, besides like Russ, I don't know that there is a bigger independent artist.
But you got to think, dude. Another thing that people probably get that perception about Ryan is, and I've never met Ryan before. I'll follow him and all that stuff. But with Ryan, man, you imagine how many people come at him all day long.
Yeah,
come at him, want him to help them, or wanting him to do this and do that and do those kind of things for him, and
or they come at him and try to bash him. And
man, and the minute he don't help, minute he don't want to help, he's the crazy guy that stays over there at the ranch or whatever. Like I just feel like the dude is man, he's like beyond his time as far as
And in a sense, though, I think, and I don't even really care to stay on the subject of him, but in his situation, I think a lot of it is to stay relevant. Even if it's not putting out music, he finds a way to. He was doing that before he started putting out music. With the Vine thing. Yeah. I mean, he finds a way to keep everybody, interested, question about something.
Entertaining. He's an entertaining guy, man. Like,
and I mean,
I watch him paint pictures on his channel.
Yeah.
But it's just so entertaining that you always want to see what he's putting out next.
But whether you like him, whether you like his music, anything about the guy, you have to give him his respect for being independent.
Absolutely.
and taking it to that level as an independent artist, which is just super hard to do. And honestly, when he talks about that, kind of defining going against Nashville's standard of what it takes to be a top artist to put number ones on the digital charts, I mean, he's the picture perfect image of that. And so
So go ahead.
So you were talking about writing. I just want to ask you a question. If you could write a song for somebody, who would you want to write for, or who would you want to write a song with?
Oh man, I don't. For is a tough question. Oh no, I might have to think about that one. But with, I'd like to sit down.
Dylan, man.
Dean Dillon,
gotta be the goat,
I mean,
Dean Dillon, that's what I
picture
was thinking.
perfect.
Oceanfront,
without a doubt, without a doubt. And for those of you that don't know who Dean Dillon is. He's pretty much George Strait's whole catalog, not to mention other number ones he's wrote for
Garth
people.
Brooks,
Tennessee Whiskey was his song.
Yeah.
Just when you talk about the top dog songwriter of all time, I'm talking country music genre, it's without a doubt, in my opinion, Dean Dillon.
One of the GOATs for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so speaking of songwriting, and around here, we've seen the emergence of Jelly Roll. Like,
Yeah.
you know how he's come on, he's changed genres of music back and forth, kind of. We seen him be a rapper. We seen him be, now he's dabbling into, some people call it country, some people don't. But how do you feel about those artists that can kind of do both? Like, you feel. Now I know you're not a rapper by no means. You don't do the country rap, but on a few songs I've heard you hit a lick before, and I've always been intrigued by that. And I think you could do that, but that's not something you want to do, or is that something that you maybe would do with the right artist, or are you just against that, or?
All right. So, I think, it's so funny when people are like, you tell somebody you do music, they kind of ask you like, oh, what kind of music you do? You tell them country,
Yeah.
but in today's age, I always tell people like, what our grandpa called that country music, and the answer is probably 100% no.
Absolutely.
But as far as rapping, man, I always wanted to, in a sense. I find it entertaining if I'm at the gym or if I'm doing something, where I want to get hype and kind of have like a up energy. I'm probably listening to some form of rap music or something upbeat with 808s in it. But now I would say I probably steer clear from it because of my daughter, in a sense.
Yeah.
To look back on that,
That's just you kind of changing over the time.
yeah. But
'Cause if I would ask you that 5 years ago,
yeah,
you probably would have been all over it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
no, and I
it's
enjoy
crazy.
people that can do both. Man, I'm a big, a lot of, I think in today's age, the whole masculine thing, you have to be like this big bad dude. A lot of people hate on him, but Sam Hunt is probably one of
That's my
my
all-time.
top influences. Just because, like you said, he can kind of do the rap thing. And I say rap thing.
He sounds good talking, man.
Man,
he can just talk. He can just talk and sound good on there.
Yeah,
you know what I
and
mean?
he's just so versatile as
Yeah.
far as it goes with stuff he's put out in his songwriting. Man, like he wrote that song I sent you a couple months ago, man. I was so intrigued
The Liberty
by
song was nice, too.
Liberty,
Yeah,
and I
that's
thought that was so
tough.
cool. So
I feel like he's one of those artists that he could just jump on any kind of
Yeah.
song, no matter what the genre
back
is.
to what you were saying earlier, I'd like to sit down and write a song with Sam Hunt. I mean, it couldn't
Yeah.
come out bad, even if he was the only one that wrote on it.
So around here, songwriters that really that were former singers, and now they're pretty much known for songwriting. David Ray, he wrote "Save Me." I remember when David Ray was he was a rapper too, and he but you wouldn't know that about him now. If anybody that's seen him now, he's the guy that wrote "Save Me." You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a big thing as far as being able to do both. I think, man, I wouldn't mind seeing you pitch a few songs though, man. If you don't, because you've got a catalog that you haven't put out yet. You got a lot of good stuff. Like that's one perk that I get about being your brother. I get to hear them first usually, and man, they just keep getting better and better. And like I said, I know you got a plan to put them out how you put them out, but I think some of them get stuck in the back that would be bangers, man. you know.
Yeah.
Speaking
absolutely.
of "Save Me," you were talking about a while ago. That was pretty cool when you covered it and Jelly shouted you out. That was pretty cool.
We did
Pretty cool moment.
we did a cover of that song early on. I forget the year exactly that the.
That was early. That was
It was
early.
early into
Yeah.
it, and I know I'm not talking 15 years ago. I just don't know exactly when it was, but I don't think "Save Me" had hit country radio yet.
And if you're keeping up with Biddy and you're looking at his timeline, early he was clean cut, and then when he got the wild Biddy, that he had the mullet, the curly hair mullet. Now he don't have that right now. Now that could come back. I don't know if that'll come back or not. But if you're looking at a timeline of it, the curly hair mullet, that was a wild time. And
The mullet was kind of in, but I like to say I started out with like a faded mohawk, and I kind of grew into. I was getting that Biddy cut for
so
a while.
if you see the
but-
bird finger and all that stuff with the mullet, that was a wild time, man. That was a wild time.
Yeah, and just talking some of the stuff we've witnessed and done, and probably grew through as far as the way I acted and the way I approach things. When you first get into music, you kind of just like we were head on, like you said. I mean, just put the train on the tracks and it was just full steam. But for me, man, some of it's so tough because you go to school with some people and you're out and about, and then some people start, just because you fall in love with this hobby of yours and this thing you're wanting to do, people think you might think you're better than them or be at a different standpoint. I had a lady message me that I think a lot of, an older lady, on Instagram one time, and said, my granddaughter's a huge fan of yours, but we're not a fan of the bird finger in the photos. And that kind of made me think, I'm not Co Wetzel, and I'm not.
When
I'm
you
my
posted
own
that, you wasn't
person,
thinking of
and-
anybody like that, though.
No,
That
no,
wasn't something you were
absolutely.
thinking of.
But that's what comes with it. You got to kind of hold yourself to that standard. There's a way to go at things, but if you're a little bit bigger, where somebody can't reach you, you may not ever see a message like that. So
Absolutely.
I'm thankful for the things that we've done and we haven't done, I hope to kind of ride it out. My plan now is to, we've slowed down on shows a lot. And part of that is due to me wanting to be home with my family and hang out. But I'm not tired of it. So I guess,
We're playing 8 days a week here for a minute.
starting out, people think you should put in your time and you should play these backwoods bars and do everything that, I guess in the old days, that's what people did and work their way up. Nowadays, there is people that just put out their first song on laptops and,
Absolutely.
2 years later, they're on tour with Morgan
It's way more
Wallen.
convenient to put out music now than it used to be.
Right.
though.
But we've grinded it out, man. I've never kept like an actual count of how many shows that we've played, how many different places we've been, venues, but definitely cut my teeth here in Portland at the Pizza Pub. I was super thankful for that.
Yeah.
I heard people before, oh, you only play here, you only play there. But man, I was just learning and learning to love the hobby that I was doing and trying to figure all that out. But I'm kind of over the 4-hour bar set.
Yeah, not bragging. I
things.
mean, we turned down more shows than most people have booked.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm not trying to do that. But when we first come out the gate, man, it was literally, dude, we were covered up, man. It was crazy. It was we didn't have anybody backing us though. It wasn't no team. It wasn't anything. It was just really just us just doing it and then like just doing it. You know what I mean? It was crazy. And it like I said, we didn't know what we were doing or how to go about it. Like I said, I love the way it all come together. And like I said, I think that your journey is just a little bit different than most people's.
Yeah.
I think that it could have been very easily, you could have not had the family yet and been way bigger in music right now. But I also think too that you wouldn't trade those things to be bigger in music, because at the end of the day, you still have music. Music's gonna always be there if you love that. Right. I mean, it don't really love you back. Music's not a thing that loves you back, though. It's kind of a thing that you got to work at and you keep going. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, music. I wouldn't say that. The music industry doesn't give a shit about
exactly.
you.
Yeah,
Nothing.
exactly.
But for me, man, to be honest with you, like I enjoy sitting and playing a guitar. I enjoy the fact that I can sit down and write a song and kind of express my feelings through, a couple chords and something that I'm putting down on paper to try to tell people, a certain message that I feel, or be able to create a body of work that I am proud of. But as far as it all goes, man, I'm just I'm excited to keep putting songs out. It's so hard when we were talking about the music industry doesn't care about you. Inconsistency does not line up with that, and it's no secret that
I think you're a little hard on yourself. I don't really call it inconsistent. I really call it life, man. I think that, like I said, but I think you could have did more. I think you could do more, and I think that you eventually will do more.
Yeah.
But right now, I feel like your journey is just a little bit different. I keep saying that, but I really feel like it's going to all circle back around, and things are going to kind of shape up the way that they should. And like I said, the cool thing is, man, your daughter don't care if you got a number one.
Right. Yeah.
She does not. You're her favorite singer regardless.
Yeah.
It don't matter. So that's an awesome thing. But I think that getting back to on the music and what it can be and what it will be, I feel like I think that with what you have and and the way you've grown so much as a songwriter, I feel like the future of what you're doing is super bright, man. And I know it's going to be a different approach that we're taking. We're not just shoving you down everybody's throat like we did at the start.
Yeah.
You know, and that gets a lot of hate too. You know what I mean? You know, some people like are happy, like, you're to make it. You know, some people don't want you to make it.
Yeah.
Obviously, and then some people, you know, that really, you know, care for you, they do. But like we said, making it is a wide term that, you know, it's really how you view it. I think you made it. Yeah. I mean, that's my honest opinion. Now, I think your future is you're going to do so much more. And I think I said, I think your strong point is songwriting, man. I think you got some bangers in there. I look forward to seeing it come out, and I mean, I hope that you put them out. But like I said, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing you pitch a few, man.
Yeah,
you know, really, I think you got it, and I'm anxious to see how it all progresses.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it too, man. Like I said, a different approach. Me and Bailey have been working more often than we have in the past, and we've got some projects in the works right now. You know, first starting, I've been through a couple different producers, and my current producer now is like right in front of me the whole time. So that is super cool. You know, we get along great, hang out, and make music. It's super cool to have it so close to home and so
convenient.
Convenient, man.
Yeah, it makes doing business a lot easier when it's like your brother doing it. You know?
It allows me, you know, if we're going downtown somewhere and recording where you're pressed and you got a 2-hour time slot and they're wanting you to cram everything in, man, it really takes like your music ability away in a sense. To actually be able to create. I mean, we've sat sometimes, you know, 3-4 hours on one project, just going back and forth and learning together and learning to see things. But I'm super excited about the songs that we do have and the songs that are about to be done. And we got the next one coming out March the 14th. It's called Heartbreak Hotel. And
it's a banger.
Yeah, man.
It's a banger.
Well, like you were talking about it being so convenient. Bailey rode up one day and brought his studio stuff, and we were sitting here in your old podcast room in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just hanging out and kind of listening to some different stuff, and we worked up some stuff and came up with that one and wrote it super quick. But man, it was just great to be in an environment that's different, you know, and kind of feel at home at the same time, hanging out and just.
Maybe that one will go number one,
together.
and we'll have you sign the wall. Say it was right here.
Yeah.
So let's throw it into this. I want to kind of switch gears right here. Let's talk about TikTok. Okay, so I remember we had a meeting with Broken Bow Records, right?
Yeah.
And we sat down with them, and I remember the very first thing out of their mouth was, how many followers do you have?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And they don't have time to make a cowboy anymore. They said that they don't put a cowboy hat on you and give you a guitar in Nashville anymore. You show up pretty much ready to go. They're going to get behind you, but they don't build a country music singer anymore in Nashville.
Right.
It's not like that. I remember I watched a documentary on Garth Brooks, and he come to Nashville, and he didn't, and they sent him back home. And they told him that he said he was making $750 a week in Oklahoma playing, and the guy looked at him and told him, I'd probably go back to Oklahoma and play.
No.
I mean, so he was embarrassed, and he hid out in his parents' basement. And then, you know, finally it all worked out. We know what happened after that, but so my thing now, TikTok has changed. You know, when Garth Brooks and all these guys come out, and I'm just using them as because they're just like legends. But when those guys come out, there was no TikTok.
There's no platforms,
and you had to buy hard copies. Now you can't buy a hard copy. Like where do I get a hard copy of a Billy James CD at? I mean, Mama might make some, but they're not. They're just not. You know what I mean? There's not. You know, shout out to our mama, by the way. She's got all the merch, man.
She's a number one.
She's
supporter.
got a cricket, man. She goes to town with it, buddy.
Yeah.
So, but well, me saying that, how do you feel like? So, say I'm an artist on TikTok. I'm a new artist, and I've got a couple 100,000 followers, and I feel like I'm really doing the thing. From that interview that you had, and from what you've seen, and we've all seen it transpire from how everything's worked out and stuff like that, what would be some pointers that you would give me? There's some young guns around here that's really took advantage of TikTok. Like I would, not to name drop, but like Austin Williams, some of these guys that
huge,
are, you know, that man, they were just having a dream, barely alive, and then now TikTok is like a guy named local Joe Tyler and a few other these guys that are really stay on TikTok a lot. is that a future in that, or do you feel like that's a fad, or do you feel like, because I remember when they shut TikTok down, man, some of them guys, man, they're about to have to get they're going to be working driving a truck or something, man. It didn't look like it was going to work out for them for a minute, you know?
I mean, in my opinion, I'm not going to lie, when I heard it was being taken away, I was like, man, you know, I've come across so many people on TikTok.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, any social media platform that I've ever had any type of hype on or anything, for me has been TikTok as well. I haven't grinded it consistently, but I've had several videos, you know, get a little bit of reach on there and been able to connect with some awesome people just through that. But I'd say definitely, you know, Bailey knows too, man. As far as putting any release or any advertisement, it's such a grind to it.
Yeah.
I'm at the point now where, truthfully, like I think I've posted some videos on my last single that we did, Strangers in a Small Town. We posted some really good picture on there, and now I feel like my algorithm, when I'm taking it with my cell phones, it's kind of on a different level, and that's just part of it. The app develops every day, just like people are trying to.
Or is that you figuring it out? Is that now? Do you feel like that's something that it's a useful tool and it could be a curse at the same time? Because if you don't ever figure it out, you feel like you're behind everybody on there. I've heard artists say that, man, I just can't get over the hump on there. I'm not getting the views that I want. You get down on yourself. And really, some of the people that are not getting the views have better music than the people getting the views. It's like it picks and chooses who they want to show love to.
Anything's algorithm. I don't think there's a guy sitting back in a chair somewhere, you know, clicking on profiles like, let's let him get discovered. I don't believe that.
No.
But, you know, there's a guy I know, I'll drop his name, Austin Snell, man. He is from Georgia, moved to Nashville.
He's a bad dude, man.
Yeah, but super great artist. He's done some great stuff. And
recorded with Jake, right?
I think Excuse the Mess. Yeah.
Shout out Jake. Was it Jake Parcel?
Yeah. Shout out Jake Parshall.
He's a bad dude too,
if you ever see this. But my standpoint on that, I watched Austin post a video one night, man, and TikTok did so good for him and literally took him, you know, he's on tour he just released a song with Brantley Gilbert, a remake of a song that he wrote, man. It was super cool. But he posted a video on TikTok one time, was just talking, you know, like, and he's like, why? I'm so, and he was like so invested into the song that he was promoting at the time, and he really liked it, and he felt as an artist in his heart like that was a good song. And he was like, does anybody else just get down when it's not doing anything for you? And you know, that's honest. I mean, you can look at it that way, but I mean, you can't really let in. There's so many ways to get your music out there, and I haven't even figured them all out yet.
But
so I can't say that.
You could post a song, go to sleep, and wake up, and your life be changed.
Yeah,
and that's what's like, it's so crazy that it works that way.
Yeah.
But that's also I feel like where the curse part comes in, because everybody thinks that can happen, and then when that don't happen, and you wake up and you have, you know, 12 likes on your video, and your song may be the banger. It just ain't.
Well, it just goes to show you, and I'm circling all the way back to the beginning of this podcast. We had to cut it because we were laughing about small town Tennessee.
No, we was.
And you and I both know this is a realistic comment, and I appreciate you guys streaming that song and sharing that, and like
still to this day.
He's
trying to take it down like 10 times, and I'm like, leave it up.
I really wish the song title means everything to me because and that is so cool that was one of the first songs that I wrote. But at the same time, the body of work to me is just not good. But it was my first song. I'm not telling you guys one thing. I wrote this song, skipped over this one. No, it was the first song I ever put my notes on my iPhone. I was living in a rental house 2 doors down from Drakewood Market, and I'd buy a 12-pack of Busch Light every single day and go home and get on my phone on YouTube and learn how to play guitar, and I wrote it.
It's crazy. Like, the song still to this day makes $300 or $400 a month, and like I can't.
I mean, but
every time he thinks about taking it down, I'm just like, dude, leave it up. Leave it up. We can record another song with that. Leave it up.
As far as that goes, you were asking about. Oh, hold on, you made me lose track because I started rambling. Anyways, the song itself. Oh, yeah. So here, I lost track for a second. So I was circling back to say, like, that song, look how it did, right? So we put it out. My last release hit, I think it was like 80,000 streams in the first couple months. Super cool. Again, I'm not playlisting anything. I'm not pushing anything. I'm posting a couple TikTok videos. Me and Bailey record the song. He sends it over to me. I put the sound on there.
Yeah,
I put the sound on there, and that's just how we did that. But I'm not. There's no marketing team behind this. It's whoever shares it on Facebook, whoever shares it on their Instagram, whoever makes I got buddies that drive trucks around these small towns. Whoever's making that truck video, putting my song behind it. I appreciate all of that because that's literally the only way that we get seen, streamed, any views, anything like that. But the hype around something at first is so crazy, and when I was blown away, and I keep getting away from the topic I was trying to talk about, like you take small town Tennessee into consideration, and you think about that body of work. There's a hype behind that versus the stuff that we have put out later on, like Talking My Shit.
Yeah,
I felt like it was a good song in my opinion.
Man, and it's
like a '90s vibe, and it just didn't do anything for anyone. So, I mean, it's just it's all part of it.
But that song that honky tonk song right there, though, bro, I feel like if it is just on the right video in front of the right people, like that's another one that could just change everything for you. It's just one of those things. Like like I hate to get back on that, but TikTok, man, is like in other apps. There's just such a tool now versus what it is. And these big guys, man, they're going to get it no matter what they post on, and they've already built their following. So TikTok's not Morgan Wallen and those guys could not get on TikTok and it'd be okay.
Right.
But man, literally, like, dude, the reason why those songs are going number one now, and those are, bro, they're literally being. I mean, it went like the songs that just dropped, man, went number one. He had it was like 8 songs in the top 10.
No,
were by him. Like that's insane. Like to me to even think about it. And the number one reason has to be TikTok, because if you think about it, man, literally the app is everybody's videos is doing stuff.
Him in particular, man, he's blowing up songs 3 months before they come out. People are begging for him in the comments. I mean, they've already accumulated 10 million streams before they're even released.
How do you feel? How do you feel? Another thing too about how he's so unique and like I said, we don't want to just name drop and use that for clout or whatever. But we're just talking in general. How do you feel about his walkouts and stuff like that? That's the guy. That's to me that is so cool. Like I think that is like so original and so cool that to me like.
And the people he gets with him, though.
Yeah, dude.
That's
like,
cool.
and even if they wasn't celebrities, but the celebrity part of it makes it cool.
Well, I think about, for everybody sitting in this room right now, I think the reason we relate to a lot of his stuff and I think, kind of dig into it is because he comes from a sports background.
Yeah.
And can relate to him on that level. And just, I don't know. Never met the guy. Don't know him from Adam. I know he's a great artist and huge, obviously.
Yeah, man.
But I got people on my Facebook feed that talk down on him, just like they would everyone else.
I have people on my Facebook get on there and act like they don't know who he is.
Yeah, come on.
They're trying to convince themselves they don't know who he is.
Yeah.
Like, literally, man, stop. Like, please. Like,
any and everybody knows
yes,
They've
man,
heard the name for sure.
And I have this argument all the time. Like, in the 90s, Garth Brooks was, he saved country music, this and that, man. I just don't think we've seen anything like that guy, man.
No.
That guy's just insane the way he just. Everything he touches is like that. But there's so many young and up and coming artists that are probably just as good. They just, once again, if they're going to be heard the right way or they're going to be presented the right way,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Nashville turns its course. And like you said, when we had the meeting down there, they were talking about like the stuff you're hearing right now isn't.
Yeah, dude, when we had the meeting down there, they had signed Lainey Wilson.
Yeah.
And nobody knew who Lainey Wilson really was. Lainey Wilson wasn't big. And then you get on the award show 6 months later, and literally the lady is winning every single award that you can win. And dude has not stopped. Like literally, it's crazy how it's 2 years behind. Like it's insane to think about. Those guys, those producers and stuff in Nashville hear the stuff 2 years in advance and can predict how things are going to go. You got to think somebody like Jelly Roll walks in there, bro. The way he carries himself and looks. Not many people's going to take a chance on a guy that's got tattoos on his face like that.
Right.
Nowadays, the Teddy Swims, the Jelly Rolls, the Post Malones, bro, the tattoos on the face is just a normal. That's nothing now. That's
I could be wrong, and I was actually talking about this in conversation with somebody the other day. I'm not sure that Jelly Roll was signed. I think he is signed to some branch of Broken Bow Records, but I'm not sure that he was signed during the release of Save Me. at that time. I'm not 1,000%
Remember
sure.
they said he had his points on his deal was a lot different than everybody else's.
Yeah, well, he knew the ins
yeah.
and outs, and I think at one time he had signed like a deal with somebody in rap and this and that. I mean,
think about how his just roots are in Nashville and everything through the music industry happens here.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, it was like perfect just for him for everything to work out the way it did. You know,
Now he's everywhere.
Yeah, one of the greatest success stories in local music that you could ever hear about.
That's amazing, man.
But yeah. It's been fun, and I wanted to elaborate on the meeting we did have with those guys, though. Yeah. So to break that down, we didn't make a big deal about that. I thought that was cool. It was nothing streamed from a connection that you made, a connection that I made. There was a individual that's a talent finder for a producer that works inside this record label, and he stopped by my mom's work. Super nice gentleman. I think he's the same one that found Joe Nichols, Sonny in 75. It's super cool to walk through. Was it BMG is where we were at? BMG.
Hair, man. He must be just looking for people with curly hair. He found Mom and you, man. That was crazy.
But it was super cool to walk through there. But what it ended up being was a producer that was working inside of the record label, and what they wanted was nothing in Nashville, like you said. They were talking about numbers and stuff. Unless you're built before you meet these record labels, unless you have a body of work built and a following fan base, they're not taking any Joe Blow off the street and turning them into Morgan Wallens
it's a mind blower for new artists out there for how it actually works. Like I don't want to really get into all of it, but from the outside looking in, you come in there, you pay them to record. They're not recording anything for free. No. You pay them to record, and then they turn around and they lowball you for your masters. So your masters, and like I said, they even told us this out of their own mouth. They bought Lainey Wilson's masters for $10,000 a piece. Mm. She had 12 at the time. That was $120,000. They gave her a $120,000 check. What do you think those masters are worth right now?
Right.
Oh man,
bro, she's the hottest thing in music. Yeah. What do you think they're worth right now?
I'm sure, and I hope there was like a reconstructed contract in there. But
every time I see her on the awards, I think of that dude sitting in that office talking about, well, we gave her $10,000. Like, we wouldn't even sell you ours for $10,000, and they're not worth nothing. No. They're only worth what we make off of it. But to us, they're for $10,000. That's not. They don't excite anybody.
And
you know what I'm saying?
This isn't like a screw you to anybody, in that market or in that deal. But for a younger artist, you walk in. At that time, we were kind of talking on the lines of doing the deal that they had offered us, and it was a money thing. They wanted us to come out of pocket, and at that time, man.
And that wasn't a problem. I mean, I felt like we had it to do it. We could have did it. Yeah. But at the same point in time, it puts us in it's a weird deal because you feel like you're giving everything that you did away. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I take my hat off to Upchurch, man, because. Bro, he got a guitar out of them and send them back to Nashville, man. Yeah. But it's just crazy the way it works. But so many young artists probably, and like I said, I hope that they reconstruct Lainey's deal because she probably makes so much off endorsements she don't miss anything anyway. But hopefully that they change that.
I'm sure they thought she was going to blow up, but I don't think they probably thought it was going to go that way.
No, man.
Well, it just goes to show you that. And then I want to get off this topic, but all right. So I was watching on TikTok. Jelly Roll's on Bussin' with the Boys, and he broke down a Nashville record deal to everybody that was watching and listening. And
that was awesome.
And it's super cool. Yes. He's like, new artist. This is free game. So I'm probably going to mess it up talking about it. I just watched it once on TikTok and scrolled through. I don't even think I paid attention to it in the episode. But basically what he said do simple math. Like you go in, this record label was like, yeah, we'll put forth the money for you to record your first project, whatever. He said, say they put $1 million into it. He said there's some people with like as low of a deal on Music Row. Right? Yeah, it's like 360. But he said there's people down there that have. He said say 70-30. He said there's multiple top dogs right now on Music Row with 95.5s.
Yeah, 90-10, 95.5s.
Yes.
Yeah, that's insane.
And he said so while your masters are making all this money and is building back up, they're going to make their $700,000. Then after that, you start to pay them the $1 million that you took from the start, so you're just not.
Yeah.
And I think that's tough. And I think Nashville, over time will change. They're going to have to, because you have guys that are,
And it's a business too, though, man. You got to think how many times those record labels invested into somebody that mentally couldn't do it. that let them down. Imagine the people that look like $1 million, got the best voice ever. We know some people. I mean, I ain't gonna say names, but we know some people that we've booked that were in famous music groups that literally sat on stage and fell off of it because they're so drunk and so crazy and stuff like that. Like, if you seen that guy walking, you would be like, man, he's famous, bro. He's you know, and he's in a big time group and everything. And it's just to imagine how many times the label is lost, but man, imagine all the times that they've won, bro. When they win, they win. It's not like
I'm sure that they're ahead in the
they're not hurting by no means. No, right. Absolutely. But yeah, man, Nashville's just a crazy place. I remember you were you down there, and then what's the dude's name from the record place? You were in there, and his daughter was in there, or something. he was like, yeah, my dad's or. I'm with was it Steve? Not Steve Rashida. No, you can cut this out. But what
are you? Oh, are you talking about?
His daughter was it?
No, it was a lady that worked for him.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
You don't have to cut. What it was the. and I'd had a little too much to drink.
It's just crazy. You never know who you're going to see.
I was at Whiskey Jam and. I was sitting there, and we were all having a good time, me and a couple of buddies. Dre and all them was down there with us. Shout out, Dre. But we were hanging out, and she approached me in conversation, and we were talking back and forth, and she was starting to say, I told her I did music, and she was telling me why I needed a record deal. And I eventually, you know, it was just kind of like, there's so many people out here making it without a record deal. It's not going to hang. And, you know, she probably takes a lot of passion in her job and enjoys what she does. And obviously, you know, you said a name, but who she works for is one of the biggest record labels in Nashville.
For sure.
And that accumulated. The guy that was producing me at the time got a call from a person that got a call from her and was like, watch your boy, you know, tell him not to be saying silly stuff, da-da-da-da-da. But it is what it is, man. And you know, you talk about music, just to sum it all up, there's number one thing you got to think about anytime you put out a body of work, anytime you write a song and you try to push it and put it in front of these people, you're putting yourself at the will of everyone and their opinion and how they feel about what you've done. You got to take that in consideration when you start to be hard on yourself or, you know, this and that. For two, Nashville is huge. I don't know if growing up, you know, 30 minutes north of it on 65 is a blessing or a curse, but I wouldn't change where I'm from for the world. I love it. And yeah, thirdly, there's so many ways to do it, so many ways to make it happen.
Yeah, there's no right way to do it. I don't think. I think you can do it your way, and that's how it works, and that's why I see you doing it.
For over the next year or so, I'd say I don't know what I'm going to be doing 2 years from now, but the next upcoming months.
What can we expect a year from now?
What's going
to happen within a year?
So right now we're working on multiple bodies of work as far as getting songs ready to push. My biggest thing is, you know, I might put a song out, and then a year later have another single, and that's just not going to work. So what I've started to kind of try to take advantage of is the writing side, making these records, getting them ready, having them ready for, you know, doing a release we were talking about earlier it's not just a light thing to do. You know, setting your phone up 4 or 5 times a day and recording yourself to make a video to post on an app to promote the music in the right way is not the easiest thing to do. No. But I'm just going to kind of focus on that and do the best I can to stay on top of it and try to get these songs out.
July 3rd, we got a show at Cahoots. You're headlining another show at Cahoots. Shout out to Bill.
Yeah, shout out Bill
at Cahoots, man. He's the coolest bar owner in the Nashville area, hands down. Yeah. He's that dude's amazing, man. He's did a lot of cool things out there at Cahoots. But yeah, we'll be headlining a show at Cahoots. July 3rd, so it's July 4th, so it's the Red, White, and Biddy Bash. I messed with Bill and told him that was going to be the name of it, but no, man, so we got that. A lot of new music coming out. As far as people keeping up with you and that kind of thing, what's the easiest way to keep up with you, and what should they expect? And like I said, I know what you kind of elaborated on that, but what do you feel like the future is, and then and just closing it out, and what can we expect? Where can we keep up with you at? All that good stuff.
Yeah, social media is pretty much Biddy James on everything. Like I said, I resort to TikTok a lot for my music promotion. Facebook mainly. I've been straying away from Instagram for a while. I should get back on that, but yeah. be careful on TikTok. I think there's like 13 fake pages.
They're all him. He's just messing with everybody.
No, they're not. I got one. It's I think _ Biddy James _ You can follow me on there. And yeah, man. My goal in the future is try to stay more consistent and give y'all some stuff to listen to. And
another project too, man. As we're ending this, I want to elaborate on this and another project that we started together that this year we plan to try to take it to the next level. And it's been one of the hardest things is getting. We started a hat company called Two Lane Hat Company.
Yeah,
and it started by me and him, and it's kind of a little inspiration. We both love hats, and hats is I know this may sound crazy, but it's a big part of our life. We like hats, man. Hats is a cool thing that we like, and we started a hat company called Two Lane Hat Company. We still haven't had a chance to really get it over the hump. I'm passionate about that. I think we got a lot of new designs dropping. We got a lot of new things. So be on the lookout for that. We plan on pushing that and putting the time that it deserves and trying to make that thing go, man. And that's a full-time gig right there, but we plan on trying to make that something special and be on the lookout for it in the videos. You know, he'll have some of the merch, and hit him up for any of it. That's a company we started. We started that way you could support Biddy James without having to wear a T-shirt that said Biddy James on it. Another grown man wearing another grown man stuff. I mean, I know some of y'all are not, the easiest to do that, but Two Lane will work.
Yeah.
So.
But before we get off here, I do want to say, I ain't trying to make you cry or nothing, but I want to say thank you for always supporting me, and
for sure,
whether it be in a hat company or music,
sure.
All these things we talked about would not have happened had you not kind of stuck your hand in the pot to make sure that they did. So
we're working on it, man. We're gonna keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear all the new stuff coming out. And
yeah, me too, man. It's a little different than the older stuff that we've had out, but I'm excited.
If you like this video, if you do comment on here, where I'm trying to talk Biddy into coming full time on the podcast and coming into interview some more people and stuff like that. But he's a busy man, so we can barely get him on here.
Yeah. So. And if you're not doing that, come see me at Sanford Trailer Sales, Greenbrier, Tennessee.
Man. He's selling trailers, slinging them trailers, and
y'all come see us.
Get your hat too while you're up there.
Yeah, if you buy a trailer.
Yeah, we get free hats for people to buy trailers.
Yeah. Just the cost of a gooseneck.
Man, I really appreciate you coming on here. We got big dreams, and I ain't gonna call it dreams. We just sort of like how Biddy puts out music. We're gonna put out these things, and that way they're timeless, man. Like with the music, in 25 years, we can look back and listen to your songs. Maybe we can look back and watch this conversation and laugh. And
I love it, man. So, I'm excited for you. As far as the podcast go, I tell you all the time, I'm a podcast junkie. I'm always calling you to tell you about something I heard or something I seen.
And a lot, and I'm sitting crooked in the chair, and I'm gonna work on that. I promise, guys. That's something that I'm trying to get better at, and we're gonna keep it going.
No, what I was saying is I'm super excited, man. I'm a junkie when it comes to podcasts. I'm constantly watching. I watch more podcasts than I do any kind of TV, movies, anything like that. So I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to see the channel grow, and excited to get more episodes out there for people to watch.
Shout out to Bailey. Bailey, he's always the guy behind the scenes, but shout out to Bailey. He's a guy that's gonna make this thing happen for us, hopefully. So we appreciate it. We appreciate him. We appreciate everybody that supports. Again, I appreciate you coming on here and taking your time with us.
Yeah.
Drew, you got anything, man?
Like I said earlier, I'm excited to hear all the new stuff coming out, and maybe when it's all said and done, you'll get your name on that welcome sign.
Yeah, man. They had to, make some room. We got some famous people from Portland on
Move over, Corey Brewer.
Nah.
Ronnie McDowell. I got a Ronnie McDowell story I'll tell y'all later, man.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate it.
Hey, y'all, this is Biddy James. Shout out to 365 Podcast for having me on. My new single's coming out March 13th, and you can find a way to pre-save it below on whatever music platform that you listen to. Thank y'all, and we'll see y'all in the next episode. We just had a hell of a night, yeah. We shut down the bars under Broadway lights.